The next couple of days, the WNBA players are going to decide if they want to go on strike, and if they decide to go on strike, apparently that could be the end of the WNBA. The WNBA cannot come back from this.
So people thought Angel Reese was insane last year when she said, yeah, CBA's coming up, we deserve more, because I'm here, and if y'all don't give us what we want, we sitting out. What are you, crazy? Sit out and crush all the momentum from Caitlin Clark? Well, guess what? Just this week, W players voted yes on a strike. Not on strike yet, but it's officially on the table.
Something doesn't add up. The headlines say one thing, but the timing argues otherwise, and the gap between them is impossible to ignore. What if the celebration wasn't proof of success, but a smokescreen? The applause continued, the math fell apart, and the future abruptly went silent. Stay with this because the ending only makes sense if the decision was already made.
4 hours, the WNBA could be dead. Not dead like, oh, the ratings are down dead. I'm talking about the league that just had the most successful season in its history. The league that finally got mainstream attention. The league that everybody's been waiting 28 years to see take off. That league might literally cease to exist. And the craziest part, the players are the ones that are about to pull the trigger. Because right now, as I'm recording this, WNBA players are literally 1 day away from potentially going on strike.
This was supposed to be the golden era, the victory lap, the see it worked moment. Instead, it feels like a party where the music's still playing, but the chairs are already being stacked, and nobody wants to ask why.
This was 98% yes. You never see that kind of agreement from players, all on the same page. But if this happens, it could be the end of the WNBA as we know it. Because other leagues are popping up saying, hey, you don't like the W? Come play here. We'll pay you more.
Oh, I would let them. If I was the WNBA, I would let any players that wanted to go play in this other league play in that league. Because if we couldn't make money as the WNBA, literally the WNBA, you're going to take the same players that we had and you're going to find a way to make money. I would watch and see what they do, and if it does work out, I would use their business model and reopen the
Because days from now, this won't be about a small protest or a dramatic statement. The league is flirting with a decision leagues rarely survive. A strike. Not symbolic. Not temporary. The kind that stops momentum cold, splinters loyalty, and gives every competitor with a slide deck the opportunity they've been praying for.
Bro, this is getting crazy, and these people are actually delusional. I made a video a couple of days ago talking about the WNBA, and 97% of the WNBA players said that they were going to go on strike if they weren't paid what they were owed. Now, the average amount that a WNBA player makes is like $120,000 a year, which I think is good for a league that doesn't make any money. But the WNBA came to the table and said, okay, for you guys to play another season, we're willing to pay you, on average, the new wage would be $540,000.
The most alarming part isn't how split people are. It's how aligned they are. 98% unity doesn't mean stability. It means the decision is already made. This didn't appear overnight, despite the sudden shock on display.
So what are the WNBA stars actually fighting about? Well, it's simple. They're only fighting about money. And that's a way to simplify everything, but it's way more complicated than that. See, it's not just about how much the players get paid, it's about how they get paid. And this is where things get really interesting. Right now, WNBA players get about 9 to 10% of league revenue. The league's supermax salary in 2025 was $249,244. The average salary was $120,000. The minimum was just $66,000.
The warning signs were there, blaring like a fire alarm with a note taped over it that read, "Do not panic. We are winning." Last year, when a few players hinted that sitting out was even an option, the response was laughter mixed with disbelief. Sit out now? During the biggest surge of attention the league had ever seen? It sounded like threatening to unplug life support because the patient had finally opened their eyes. And yet, here we are, staring directly at the scenario everyone swore would never happen. The irony is almost poetic. The league finally caught what it had chased for decades. Mainstream attention, packed arenas, real television numbers, cultural relevance. And the moment it arrived, the foundation started to crack. The reason isn't complicated. Strip away the slogans and the merch, and it comes down to money, timing, and expectations colliding at the worst possible moment. One player walked into the league and changed the temperature of the entire room. Games that once drifted by quietly became events. Viewership didn't just rise, it jumped. Regular season matchups that used to struggle for oxygen suddenly looked like primetime television. Even games she didn't play benefited, like the league caught a second-hand buzz it didn't know how to metabolize. Finals that once lived in obscurity suddenly pulled numbers big enough to make pretending nothing had changed impossible.
That's all I have in me today. We have been covering this WNBA CBA stuff from the beginning, and it's exhausting. It's absolutely exhausting. It never feels like we are getting anywhere. I never feel like I have good updates for you guys, and I'm getting tired of the fact that I also feel like every time I sit down, I'm complaining about something, and that's just not my personality. I'm not going to continue to sit here and complain about something or rant about something or be angry about something and not be able to make a change in something.
And that's where the discomfort began. Because admitting that one player fundamentally altered the league's financial gravity made everything else harder to explain. It dragged uncomfortable math onto the table. And math doesn't care about feelings, narratives, or who's trending on social media. It just sits there, blinking, asking the same question. Why didn't the revenue surge turn into profit? On paper, the timing was perfect. A new media rights deal landed just as interest spiked. Expansion fees poured in, with new teams paying eye-watering sums just to get a seat at the table. From the outside, it looked like the league had finally reached the promised land. From the inside, the books told a very different story. Here's the part no one likes to say out loud. The league is still losing money. Not a little, a lot. And somehow, in the same year attention exploded, losses climbed to new highs. That sounds impossible until you realize what happened next. Spending rose just as fast as revenue, sometimes faster, and often in ways that had nothing to do with growing the audience. The conversation quietly shifted from how do we stabilize this growth, to how do we upgrade the lifestyle.
The unrivaled league and the ratings are an embarrassment. They're a statement about how little interest there actually is in women's basketball beyond Caitlin Clark. The fact that they can't reach a CBA agreement and be confident that there's actually going to be a 2026 season of the WNBA because these idiots, Angel Reese and the rest are like, oh man, if y'all not paying us $1 million, $2 million a season, we're not playing. They've offered these idiots.
Suddenly the league wasn't just about basketball. It became about optics, comfort, presentation, and looking like something it hadn't yet proven it could be financially. Private flights turned into the symbol. Not because travel safety doesn't matter, it does, but because of what they represent. A league that has never turned a profit demanding one of the most expensive perks in professional sports isn't a negotiation strategy. It's a stress test. Private flights sound glamorous until you run the numbers. One flight out, one flight back. Multiply that by teams, staff, and an entire season. The cost explodes into something that could fund meaningful salary increases all by itself. You can almost hear the spreadsheet screaming while everyone pretends not to notice. And here's the irony. Flying commercial, inconvenient as it sounds, might actually help players connect with the fans they need most. Visibility builds loyalty. Distance creates mystique. And mystique isn't always your friend when you're still fighting for relevance. This is where the salary conversation gets twisted. The numbers are real, and they're not insignificant. Average salaries have climbed into territory most people would gladly accept for doing what they love part of the year. Minimum salaries still have room to grow, but they're not starvation wages. The issue isn't that players want more. The issue is the order of operations.
These WNBA players said that that's still not enough, and if you don't pay us, there's a rival league that we're going to get paid out to go to, and they're going to compete with you directly. Now, the numbers just came out for this supposed rival league, really the only thing that gave them even an inkling of leverage in this negotiation. Their numbers just came out, and it turns out they lost 65% of their viewership in the year of 2025. So now they just have nowhere to go. 65% drop, WNBA players begging for...
Because a strike doesn't reduce your paycheck. It erases it. Zero isn't leverage. Zero is a cliff. And while the biggest names can afford to stand at the edge and pose for photos, the middle of the roster can't. Not because compromise is impossible, but because resentment walked into the room. And once that happens, logic slips out the back door. Statements hardened. Positions froze. What should have been negotiation turned into a staring contest, where both sides pretended blinking was weakness. The league put numbers on the table that would have sounded absurd just a few years ago. Massive raises. Historic jumps in averages. A future that, while imperfect, looked dramatically better than the past. The response wasn't cautious optimism. It was outrage. And that's when ambition crossed into danger. Negotiations are supposed to end with both sides slightly unhappy, That's how you know neither side got everything. When one side treats a dramatically improved offer like an insult, the message stops being about fairness. It becomes about control. At the center of the standoff is revenue sharing, a phrase that sounds noble until you unpack it. Revenue sharing means splitting income, not profit. It ties player pay to the league's financial performance, good and bad. That model works in leagues that reliably generate profit.
There's a miss over there at the WNBA with a big shakeup on the horizon. And from the looks of it, the women over there are on the verge of losing absolutely everything due to pure arrogance, if not ego. And it's sort of like within the modern dating marketplace today, some of these women out here wildly overestimating who they are or the value that they are actually providing to a man. All right. So over the past several years, it's been one name and one name only that has put in the WNBA on its back, and that name is Caitlin Clark.
It becomes a problem in leagues built on subsidies and optimism. If you want the upside, you inherit the downside too. Debt isn't optional. Losses don't disappear. And now that the spotlight is finally bright, all the delayed decisions are arriving at once, demanding answers no one ever practiced giving. The most brutal truth is this: not everyone is risking the same thing. The stars will be fine. They have endorsements, visibility, and leverage. If the league pauses, they'll pivot, make appearances, collect checks elsewhere, and wait it out. The average player doesn't have that luxury. They become the collateral damage in a war fought with moral language and economic consequences. History isn't on anyone's side. Sports leagues don't bounce back easily from strikes, especially ones still fighting for cultural oxygen. One strike, one lost season. Fans don't wait patiently. They move on. They find other leagues, other storylines, other heroes. Baseball learned that lesson the hard way in the 90s, and it never fully reclaimed its throne. That was baseball. The giant. The WNBA does not have that margin for error.